am I in trouble? And he said, bring the car back immediately or we'll call the police. I started going to the Nurburgring when I was 8 years old. I was on a trip in Germany with my dad. We were on a business trip, and he and I just went and watched the Touristenfahrten. I hope I said that right. Sorry, Germans. Touristenfahrten. We watched that in 95 or 96, I'm gonna say. So I had a strong obsession for that track, and it was a huge bonding experience with my dad and a love of cars, really stemmed from a trip that we took to Germany. When I could drive in Germany, my friends and I would go out there basically once a year, and there's a right way and a wrong way to drive the Nurburgring. The right way to drive the Nurburgring is you go and rent a car from a Nurburgring car rental company. There's many of them out there, and they will, they'll give you a properly set up car with racing brake fluid, a roll cage, and it's the right way to do it. Now there's a wrong way to do it, and you can have a lot of fun doing it the wrong way, but you have to accept the risks. So I would go to rental car companies at the airport. It was the Cologne airport, and I found one car company in particular that would rent out very cool German sports cars, BMW M3s, M5s, AMGs, Audi RSs. You could even get 911s from Avis at one point. I think they still do that. But I rented 4 cars on one trip. I had an M4 at the Nürburgring. I had it for a day or two, trashed the brakes, trashed the tires, and I casually walked back into the car company or the car rental company, and I said, hey, something's wobbling. The brakes are warped. I don't know what's wrong with this thing. Can you guys take it back? Do you guys have another one? Proceeded to get another BMW M4. I took it back to the Nürburgring. Brakes, tires. I think something's wrong with these BMWs. I took it back, and I don't know what's wrong with this thing. You guys have another car. I'm really sorry, but I think I'm just having bad luck. I got a BMW 320 turbo diesel wagon at that point, and I took that out to the track, and that one lasted a little longer. It's much slower. It's not an M4. You go about half the speed. Same thing happened with that one. Brought it back, got a BMW Z4. I think I'm clever. I've got it all figured out. Like, why would you ever spend the extra money to rent cars from a reputable Nürburgring car rental company when you can just do it at the airport and get cooler cars? I'm in line to get on the track, and if anybody's ever been to the Nürburgring, there's pretty big queue, and it's a toll booth, and there's a toll arm. There are 3 or 4 of them, and you have a card, or at that time it was a card. Now it's a little QR code on your phone. But you scan it in, and I was right about to scan in my card and get on the track, and I get a call from a +49 number, and I answer it, and it's this German guy. And, hello, Mr. Engelmann, this is so and so from the rental car company. Have you been taking our cars to the Nürburgring? I just played dumb. I was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. What? And he's like, well, we have pictures of you driving 4 of our cars with your face and our license plate on the Nürburgring. I got quiet, and I was like, well, how does that happen? Supposedly there's guys out there, like most racetracks, especially the Nürburgring, where freelance photographers, they take pictures of the cars driving. You log onto the website, you find your picture. Well, when there's any suspicion drawn from somebody taking a rental car and trashing it on the Nürburgring like an idiot, they just go in and they talk to these photographers, and I think they even had software. I don't know if that was true, but it can basically scan the license plates, and they can just pull the car pretty easily. Yeah, that's how they got me. So freelance photographer, they found the pictures of me driving every single car, and I said, well, what, am I in trouble? And he said, bring the car back immediately or we'll call the police. You need to have the car back to the Cologne airport within 24 hours. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to jail. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how they handle things over here. So I bring the car back to the rental car company, and he chewed me out. I wanted to cry when I left. And, we never really talked about a penalty. And I'm thinking, I got off the hook. I'm like, oh, whatever. That worked. Like, I got banned from a rental car company. Yeah, no consequences, all good. 2-3 weeks later, I get a very big charge on my credit card report. And was a lot of money. It's over 8,000 euros. And I called my credit card company trying to be slick. I said, hey, can I dispute a charge? I brought up that specific charge from that rental car company, and they said, well, Mr. Engelmann, we have documentation, you should have it too, of what happened in that instance. And sure enough, in my inbox, there's a full detailed report of brakes, rotors, tires on, two BMW M4s. They let me off easy on the BMW 320, but they charged me for all of it, and I learned a very, very expensive lesson. I was in my 20s. I'm just going to blame it on being young and stupid. I don't recommend anybody go and do this on the Nurburgring. Like I said, it's a more cost-effective way to do it, especially if you get caught. But there's companies that specialize in this, and yeah, it's you won't get in trouble with the German rental car companies. So there's a company that I like to use. There's a lot of good ones. Rent for Ring in particular, I really like to rent from them. Dale and Mark are my boys. They'll take really good care of you. They're around, don't quote me on this, let's call it 120 to 150 euros a lap in a fully prepped BMW race car. It's basically a V2T car, which is a class in the Nurburgring Endurance Racing Series. So you basically get a prepped car with a roll cage, harnesses. They'll provide coaching for you. But it's overall, it's a safer way to do it. That track is, they don't call it Green Hell because it's a nice, safe place. It's the most dangerous racetrack in the world. It's 13 miles long. A lot of bad things can happen. So you want proper safety gear to protect you. So, I mean, that's the number one thing. There's the financial aspect and getting in trouble. But, I mean, if you do go to these rental car places, you want to be safe. And they also, Dale is an excellent coach who works there, and there's numerous other companies that will provide all the services, but it ends up being much cheaper to run. And in addition, a normal street car on a racetrack with normal brake fluid, tires, brakes on a street car, it's not going to last like a race prep car will. So you'll more efficiently be able to drive it. You'll probably do 5 or 6 laps in a rental car from a car company at the airport, when you could just run one of those cars all day. And if something breaks, no big deal. They fix it, they give you another car, and you don't get chewed out by an angry German guy at the rental car station. So back then in an M4, I think I was spending around 300, 400 euros a day. I know you can get them cheaper sometimes if you upgrade, but I went way over on miles, and I wasn't thinking about that either. So when I returned the car, I put X kilometers over the allotted kilometers that they give you when you rent the car, and they get you for that too. They charge you like €1 or 50 euro cents per kilometer over that you go. So it ended up costing me like 1,000 euros for 2 days to drive that car. And you do get I had a F82 BMW M4, awesome car, but you can actually find, they have prepped F82 M4s. It just depends on how deep your pockets are. You could rent anything from a GT4, GT3, all the way down to a Volkswagen Scirocco that's race prepped out there. So ironically, I tried to save money by getting a car at the airport, and I spent $10,000, and what that would really equate to is a couple weekends in a real race car, racing a car on the Nurburgring, if you want to go to the extreme, or that's basically all 10 trips out there, if you call it, renting cars from Nurburgring car rental companies. So definitely didn't save me money.